If Nikola Tesla were alive today, he would say you're wasting your greatest weapon, your frequency. Yes, while you're chasing money, love, or peace, you're ignoring the real engine behind quantum manifestation. Tesla wasn't speaking about esoteric philosophy when he talked about energy, vibration, and frequency. He was talking about the engineering of reality. And without realizing it, you've been using that engineering against yourself. If you keep living on vibrational autopilot, you'll keep attracting scarcity, when in truth, you could collapse a whole new reality in just a matter of weeks. Have you ever stopped to think that everything you feel, think, and experience, from the love you attract to the chaos you keep repeating, can all be explained by vibrational frequency? This isn't cheap self-help talk. Nikola Tesla, the genius who imagined Wi-Fi before the internet even existed, said, asterisk, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Asterisk, that's science. But no one ever taught you how to use it to manifest the life you want. While you're struggling with empty affirmations and trying to visualize a different future, you're still operating on the same frequency that attracts scarcity. Why? Because your subconscious mind is still programmed with a limited self-image. And worse, it repeats that program like an out-of-tune song every single day. You want to attract abundance, but you vibrate scarcity. You want to reprogram your mind, but you keep feeding your energy field with fear, anxiety, and guilt. What no one told you is that truly changing your frequency isn't about thinking positive or sticking post-its on the mirror. It's about accessing a forgotten inner technology. And the first step is realizing that your current reality is an exact reflection of the vibration you sustain. Want to change what you see outside? You need to raise your vibration inside. And this is where we begin. Imagine if someone told you that your entire reality is shaped by an invisible force, and that it can be manipulated. Nikola Tesla not only knew this, he left clear clues. Asterisk, if you want to discover the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Asterisk, and curiously, no one talks about this in schools. Coincidence? I call it strategic concealment. Because if you understand this, you begin to step out of the system. From the moment you were born, you were placed in a kind of vibrational cage. Schools taught you what to think, TV what to fear, and culture what to desire. But no one taught you how to reprogram your mind to tune into what you truly want. The result? You vibrate at the frequency they choose. Fear, guilt, scarcity. And guess what that attracts? More of the same. The so-called reality you live is just a reflection of what you emit. Tesla understood this before anyone else. He knew the entire planet has a pulse, today known as the Schumann resonance, and that the human body aligns with it. This means that when you're in a natural, connected state, your subconscious mind syncs with what's pure and elevated. But when you're disconnected from this, you become like an off-air antenna, picking up static, pain, and disorientation. Do you feel tired, anxious, sleepless? It might not just be daily stress. It could be that your vibrational frequency is misaligned because you were programmed to operate in survival mode, not creation mode. What does this cause? A scrambled energy field that repels good things, even when you try to use the law of attraction. It's like wanting to hear a radio station without tuning in correctly. And what makes this adjustment? Awareness. Except awareness has been systematically suppressed. Not by accident. Tesla was silenced, his notebooks confiscated, because he had discovered ways to access free energy, vibrational healing, and pay attention, real quantum manifestation based on science. This goes against everything the system wants. Because someone who collapses reality and creates their own abundance doesn't need to be controlled. Have you noticed that everything around you seems to pull you down? Music at 440 hertz. Did you know this was standardized in 1939 specifically to create tension? Heavy environments, toxic food, information overload. All of this works as vibrational warfare. The goal? To keep you disconnected from your true nature and away from your energetic alignment. Because deep down, if you raise your vibration, everything changes. I know this because I lived it. I had chronic insomnia, was always exhausted, and my mind was a whirlwind. Only after I understood this code, the one Tesla and so many ancient civilizations knew, was I able to change my self-image, clear my internal programming, and make my first timeline shift. It wasn't magic. It was science applied to spirituality. The universe responds to frequency, not empty intention. Want something practical? Start your day listening to frequencies like 432 Hz or 528 Hz. Meditate for 5 minutes in complete silence, just feeling your energy. Use affirmations that don't just state what you want, but who you already are. Asterisk, I am worthy of unlimited abundance. I am in resonance with my ideal reality. Asterisk, feel it, vibrate it, embody it. That's where the identity shift begins. Tesla called this the 0 point, the space where consciousness merges with matter, where thought shapes form. And when you reach this point, you realize manifestation techniques aren't about forcing. They're about releasing, letting go and receiving. Trusting the universe isn't about waiting with folded arms. It's knowing your vibration is already transmitting the right signal, and that the response is inevitable. People think reality is something fixed. It's not. It's a projection. And everything you feel, think, and emit is creating it. That's why a reality shift begins much earlier than you imagine. It begins in the invisible. When you change what you vibrate, you change what you attract. When you change what you believe you deserve, you begin to access the energy of worthiness. You know those moments when everything just seems to flow effortlessly? That's vibrational coherence. It's your field aligned with your intention. It's when you live in flow. This isn't a privilege for enlightened beings or gurus. It's accessible to anyone who knows how to manipulate frequency. And that leads us to an even more surprising discovery. If this content shifted your perspective, imagine the impact of continuing this journey. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and make sure the next content reaches you. This is how transformation begins, with simple decisions aligned with a new frequency. Have you ever stopped to consider that maybe the Bible, the Vedas, and even the teachings of Jesus aren't really talking about religion, but about quantum physics? Sounds strange? Then look at this. The word spirit, from the Latin spiritus, means wind, breath, in other words, vibrational movement. And what happens when you vibrate? You create. It's no coincidence that "in the beginning was the word" can also be read as "in the beginning was vibration." Everything starts with sound. Everything is frequency. Ancient civilizations knew this. The Hindus speak of Om, the primordial sound that keeps the universe expanding. The Egyptians had acoustic rituals in the pyramids. The Hebrews used the divine breath, the Ruach. And what do all these common points show? That they all understood something essential. Everything vibrates. They didn't see spirituality as belief, but as vibrational science. This is quantum manifestation with ancient roots. And why was this hidden? Simple. Because the people who understand that they are co-creators of reality won't bow to anyone. When you learn how to use your vibrational frequency to attract abundance, you no longer need to obey. Doctrines were adapted, symbols modified, but the code is still there, waiting for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. And now you are starting to hear. Once, at a silent retreat, a monk told me something I never forgot. Asterisk, the truth was never hidden. It was only told in symbolic form. Asterisk, and when you begin to decode these symbols, you realize that hell is not a place, it's a frequency. Just like heaven, you enter or leave them every day, depending on your vibration. This is reality shifting in practice, and it has nothing to do with divine judgment. Want a practical example? Read the Psalms and notice the words: protection, light, elevation. These are all images of elevated frequency. Or read the Vedic texts and see how they describe the body as a vibrational temple, where the chakras, our energy centers, regulate the flow of life. It's all about energetic alignment and vibrational fields. The problem is that most people read, but don't listen to the frequency behind the words. The Tibetan tradition, for example, teaches that certain mantras activate specific frequencies in the body and mind. They're not just pretty sounds. They're vibrational codes. When you chant Om Mani Padme Hum, you're not asking for something. You're aligning with a vibration that already contains what you desire. That's far more powerful than praying for something. It's reprogramming your mind to receive. And here's a crucial point. You only manifest what you're in resonance with. You can repeat, "I am rich" 1,000 times. But if inside you still feel scarcity, you will vibrate scarcity. Ancient traditions knew this. That's why all transformation began with identity shift. First, you saw yourself as a channel of the divine. Then reality began to respond. Today, we call this manifestation techniques. Back then, it was spiritual initiation. And this language of scripture isn't exclusive to the East. Jesus spoke of faith the size of a mustard seed that moves mountains. That's not metaphor. That's a reminder that even a minimal shift in your energy field can collapse previously impossible possibilities. He healed with words, with sound, with vibrational intention. That's not religion. That's spiritual physics. And it's available to anyone who learns how to listen. In fact, have you noticed how ancient rituals always included singing, dancing, breathing? That wasn't distraction, it was subconscious reprogramming through vibration. A simple shamanic drum, with its steady rhythm, alters your brain waves. It takes you out of beta, racing thoughts, and into theta, manifestation state. All this long before neuroscience existed. They knew. Today, many of these codes are being rediscovered. Sound therapies, sound baths with Tibetan bowls, music in 528 Hz. This isn't esoteric trend. It's spiritual technology. Using these sounds to raise your vibration is like updating your soul's software. You begin to emit a different frequency, and the universe responds with a different reality. This is true internal programming. And when you activate it, everything starts to flow. Of course, the system doesn't want you to know this. That's why every time something like this gains strength, they try to discredit it. They call it pseudoscience. But tell me, who profits more? The world when you heal with sound, or when you depend on medication? Just thinking about that is already a sign of awakening. And when you awaken, you start to see that what's hidden in the ancient texts is actually the map to vibrational freedom. And if this is already shifting your perception, just wait until you understand how these same codes were applied in temples and sacred constructions, not as decoration, but as vibrational technology designed to shape consciousness. Have you ever walked into an old church, a temple, or a cathedral and felt something you couldn't explain? It wasn't just faith. It was vibration. That deep sense of peace doesn't come only from the spirituality of the place, but from the way it was built. Sacred architecture isn't just art, it's frequency engineering. And this changes everything about how you interact with an environment. They knew matter obeys sound. Behind the stones and columns of Gothic cathedrals and Egyptian pyramids was an ancient secret: vibrational frequency. These places were built with specific proportions like the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio, because those formulas generate resonance. When you are inside a space like that, your energy field aligns vibrationally. You literally shift your mental state just by being there. Cathedrals weren't made only for prayer. They are sound chambers. Their vaulted ceilings echo frequencies that alter your brain waves. Try chanting a simple sound, like OM, inside a cathedral. The sound reverberates, surrounds you, and feels like it opens portals within. That's elevated vibration working in your body. That's real. That's physics. That's spirituality applied with precision. Want an even more shocking example? The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt naturally resonates at 432 Hz when struck. The very same frequency associated with healing, peace, and balance. Coincidence? Never. That's vibrational engineering. The Egyptians knew how to reprogram the mind through structure. They weren't just building temples. They were building consciousness amplifiers. That's pure quantum manifestation. Tesla spoke of this when he said, asterisk, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Asterisk, he wasn't philosophizing. He was revealing the hidden manual of reality, a manual the ancients already used long before modern science. They knew how to raise the vibration of an entire community through architecture, a concept that today sounds esoteric but was once common practice. And now this is returning. Conscious architects are using biogeometry to design homes and buildings that promote health, mental clarity, and even spiritual expansion. You can start simple. Bring harmonic geometric shapes into your home. Avoid spaces with too many sharp angles. Listen to music in 528 Hz while meditating. All of this shifts your internal programming and subtly begins to collapse reality around you. I remember the first time I visited a healing cave in Bali. It had no lights, no decoration, but the frequency of the place was so strong that my whole body vibrated. The energy was dense, like the air itself had presence. That changed my perception. Since then, I've sought out spaces that expand my field. That is living in energetic alignment. And when you live like that, you manifest differently. Your vibrational field is highly sensitive to environment. You know that place where you feel drained? Or that home that seems to embrace you? That's not subjective. That's resonance. And everything in your life starts to change when you consciously choose where to place yourself. Choose places that raise your vibration. Choose environments that remind you of who you want to become. That's energetic identity shift. The most curious thing is, even without knowing this consciously, people naturally feel better in nature, inside old churches, or in quiet spaces. Because those are environments with subtler frequencies. In them, it's easier to trust the universe, easier to let go, easier to receive. Because your vibration is attuned to the natural flow of creation. And it's in that state that timeline shifts happen more fluidly. Now imagine if our cities were built this way, with sound, light, geometry, all designed to align you with the best version of yourself. That's not utopia. It's just forgotten technology. A technology that is slowly being rediscovered. And when you understand this, you start creating your own inner temple, a state of presence where miracles become the norm. But all of this only makes sense if you understand the most important piece of this equation. You yourself are a vibrational structure. And that's why, in the next point, we'll dive deep into the science behind the human body as a living energetic antenna. Have you ever stopped to think that your body isn't just a set of bones and organs, but a living antenna? An antenna that constantly receives, transmits, and modulates energy. This isn't a metaphor. It's literally what you are. And when this antenna is out of alignment, everything in your life seems to stall. Love, money, health, nothing flows. The root cause? Lack of resonance with your own vibrational frequency. Take the heart, for example. It emits an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than the brain. And this field shifts according to your emotional state. Anger, fear, sadness, they all put you in lower frequencies. Love, gratitude, and joy expand this field. In other words, your emotions are directly tied to your capacity for quantum manifestation. Vibrate differently, attract differently. Science has already proven this. The HeartMath Institute in the US showed that coherent emotions like compassion and appreciation create energetic alignment between heart, mind, and body. They call this heart coherence. And it's in this state that you access your best self. It's when your self-image shifts, intuition heightens, the body relaxes, and your energy field expands like Wi-Fi connecting you to the universe. And it doesn't stop there. Your subconscious mind responds more to your body than to words. You can repeat a mantra 1,000 times, but if your body is vibrating fear or doubt, that's the frequency being transmitted. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you vibrate. That's why your body must be in coherence with what you want to manifest. And that takes practice. Here's a practical example. Start your day with conscious breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4. Do this for 5 minutes. It regulates your nervous system, balances your heartbeat, and raises your vibration. Small habits like this have a massive impact, because when you regulate the body, you reprogram the mind effortlessly. That's applied neurophysiology. Tesla once said, asterisk, the secret of the universe is energy, frequency, and vibration. Asterisk, and did you know your DNA also vibrates? Yes, your genetic material emits and receives frequencies. And more. It can be influenced by sound, light, and intention. Russian researchers showed that DNA's internal programming can be altered by words and frequencies. You are not locked into your genetics. You are modulating them right now. And when it comes to manifestation techniques, this matters. Because if your body is vibrating scarcity, it doesn't matter how many abundance affirmations you repeat. It will feel like nothing works. Then comes self-judgment, guilt, discouragement. But it's not your fault. You simply didn't know you had to first adjust your antenna. Now that you do, you can begin to shift. You are like a radio station. If you're tuned to 88.1 FM, no matter how much you want to hear 105.9, you'll only hear what you're tuned to. Simple as that. Change your frequency and you'll change what you attract, what you feel, what you live. That's the secret behind collapsing reality. You stop forcing things and start accessing realities that already exist. They were just on another station. Your nervous system, your thoughts, and your emotions create a field around you, the famous energy field. And this field interacts with everything. People, places, situations. It literally communicates to the universe who you are right now. And the universe mirrors it back, creating synchronicities, opportunities, or blockages, depending on your signal. That's why raising your frequency is a matter of emotional survival. Many illnesses don't just appear out of nowhere. They come from repeating low-frequency vibrational patterns. Constant stress, repressed guilt, accumulated resentment. All of that intoxicates the subtle body before affecting the physical one. It's as if illness is the last alarm that you're vibrating out of alignment with your essence. That's why practices like meditation, harmonic chanting, or even intuitive dance are powerful vibrational healing tools. Think of it this way, your body is the temple, but it's also the transmitter. And if you don't care for it, your signal weakens. Life starts glitching. People don't understand you, things don't flow, money slips away. It all begins in your internal state. So next time you want to change something outside, look inside first. Take a deep breath and ask, what frequency am I transmitting right now? Now, what if I told you there are ways to use sound, form, and intention to activate your DNA and access a new timeline? In the next section, you'll discover how ancient civilizations were already doing this, and how you can too. Have you ever felt a strange restlessness inside an ancient temple and then walked out with your mind completely clear? Those places weren't built by chance. They are architectures of frequency, designed to activate inner realities. They work like vibrational platforms created to catalyze transformation. When you step inside, you're not just visiting, you're being aligned with subtle fields that echo your own essence. Tesla saw these structures as living models of energetic engineering. He believed the pyramids were giant resonators connected to Earth's pulse, what we now call the Schumann resonance. Imagine being inside something pulsing in the same rhythm as the entire planet. Your frequency naturally finds harmony, and your internal programming begins to recalibrate. Modern researchers, like Nikola Tesla, discovered that sites such as Chichen Itza were designed with acoustics that reflect specific sounds. A single handclap echoes back as the song of the Quetzal, the sacred Mayan bird. That's pure vibration resonating inside vibration. And of course, your subconscious mind tunes into that frequency, starting to transmute old scarcity patterns into elevated vibration. And it wasn't just the Mayan masters. In the Hal Saflieni Hypogeum in Malta, Chambers were carved to resonate at particular frequencies. It's as if the walls were tuned to a musical scale, perhaps to induce trance states or expanded consciousness. This shows us that quantum transformation can happen simply by being in a space with harmonic geometry. Sacred geometry is literally encoded into these places. Proportions, forms, resonance, all designed to harmonize individual consciousness with universal cosmic patterns. When you step into that frequency, your energy field locks into alignment, your identity expands, and quantum manifestation stops being abstract. This ancient technology doesn't require complex formulas, just awareness. Pay attention to the acoustics of a sacred site, the silence that reverberates, the way sound surrounds you. You begin to feel the original pulse of reality, and this recalibrates your internal programming with precision. Now imagine visiting a modern installation built on biogeometry. A home, a temple, a sound chamber, designed to elevate your vibration. These projects already exist, but the most powerful realization is that your body itself is both temple and antenna, where you are shapes how you vibrate, and that affects everything you attract, from synchronicities to luminous ideas. Tesla dreamed of generating free energy. He wanted to transmit frequency wirelessly to all humanity. His vision was that collective consciousness could be nourished by the Earth's vibration. When he realized that ancient geometry already achieved this, he saw the truth. The real power lies in vibrating at the right frequency, not in fighting reality. Once you know this exists, vibrational codes carved in stone, sacred acoustics activating the mind, structures collapsing reality, your perspective shifts. You start seeking spaces that elevate your vibration. You realize that reality doesn't need to be forced. It changes when you inhabit places and frequencies that already carry the solution. And here's the best part. You don't need to travel to millennia-old monuments to feel this. A room with harmonic proportions, a sound meditation with low resonant tones, a visualization set inside sacred geometry. All of these activate your quantum field. You begin to build your inner space as a temple of frequency, where the collapse of your desired reality becomes natural. And this awareness leads to something even more radical. You begin to see that the true revolution isn't outside, it's within. The architecture that truly matters is the architecture of your consciousness. The next step, we'll dive into how to apply this wisdom in your daily life, with simple energetic practices that can shift everything in just minutes. Now that you understand the impact of your vibrational frequency, the question you need to ask yourself is, are you going to keep transmitting the same energy that keeps you stuck? Or will you take control of your energetic field and collapse the reality you truly desire? This isn't magic. The science applied with awareness. It's a choice you make with every thought, every emotion, every action. Are you willing to reprogram your subconscious mind and rebuild your self-image to align with the energy of worthiness? Because yes, that takes courage. It requires letting go of who you think you are, so you can receive who you came here to be. Quantum manifestation doesn't begin when you close your eyes, but when you awaken, and you just woke up. The shift in identity begins here. What new reality do you want to attract? What frequency are you deciding to sustain from this moment on? Tell me in the comments, yes, put it out there, which timeline leap you're ready to take. That simple act is already a vibrational declaration. And if you want to keep learning manifestation techniques, how to raise your vibration with real practices, and how to trust the universe without falling into passivity, subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the notification bell because the next video will show you exactly how to use music, breath, and sacred geometry to align your energy. Let's create a new reality together.